You went up there yesterday too, Dean. That's good. Glad you went up there. You know, anytime you can get good players that are good young men, good students, and they happen to be in-state guys too, I think that's a bonus to your program. Number one, not because he's the in-state kid, but because he's good enough to help you win, and he's an in-state kid. I think it's very obvious he comes from a really good basketball program, a program that won the state championship last year, and he's probably, probably the leader to be Mr. Basketball this year. But all that said right there, the most important thing for me still, he has great ability, he has a great upside. Lots of quickness, a lot of ability to guard that basketball. He shoots it well enough, puts it on the floor. He's got some quickness. And I think he has a chance to become the all-time leading scorer in Fayette County history. That's a pretty huge accomplishment right there now. We've had a lot of good players out of Fayette County through the years. So then, like I said, Coach Chalk, the learning curve for a young man like that coming into a program gets minimized when they've been coached. And most adjustments are always defensively. Well, he's been coached defensively, and that's a plus too. When you get a kid out of not just a winning program, but a program where they've been coached. So we're excited to have him.
And Chalk said he's the type that you like in terms of having that chip on the shoulder. Maybe thinks he's been a little bit overlooked.
Hey, those kind of guys we've had all of our life. Again, I'm not so worried about what star they put aside and where they ranked at. It's where they end up at. And I think he's one of those kids. He's one of those young men that, you'll look at 2 years from now and say, where'd he come from? I think he has that kind of ability.
I know that him being in state is the most important thing. The fact that he is in state and you guys can start showing people that they can come here and have some success. Just how important is that for Kentucky?
Well, remember, that's the most important thing is not being in state. The most important thing is he good enough to help you compete for championships. And if he's in state, that's icing on the cake, and that's kind of what he is. It's kind of what we see him being. As I said all along, we're not going to take kids just because they're in-state guys if they're not good enough to help us compete for championships. And with him, he is good enough. And again, we want to recruit in-state kids. Love to have them, but not at the expense of not feeling like they're good enough to help you compete. So, as I just mentioned, there's no question he's one of those guys that's good enough to help you compete at a high level. And he's going to get better and better too. He's a young kid. I mean, he's really young. Just turned. Let me think about this. I think he just turned 17. Would that be right? Yeah. He just turned 17, going into his senior year. That's young. A lot of guys nowadays are 19 going to their senior year. So it's like Jim back there. Jim was 20 going to his senior year. And repeated that, didn't you, Jim?
Yeah. I know you can't get into specifics, but you hope to sign any more guys during this early period?
I hope to sign a couple more guys during this early period, yes.
How has practice been this week?
It's good. We went Monday and Tuesday and gave them off Wednesday. Thought we had 2 good days, and trying to focus on getting these guys able to communicate more, talk more. I think if you ask them, they'd tell you some things we kind of did a little bit different just to make them talk. And I think it's something all of them struggle with. And then when you have a new point guard who's kind of not used to doing it too, it makes it difficult. Like I've said this from day one, it's going to be a learning process. Every game we play, every practice we play, and we're going to be tweaking all the way up into March, trying to figure out how we can continue to, play to strengths and hide weaknesses.
How good were those 2 exhibition games? Really showing them some of their strengths and weaknesses, and showing them things to work on, getting used to a game atmosphere.
We wouldn't want any more weaknesses showed because they both went right to the buzzer. So, like I've said, it's obvious. We gotta get better at defending that basketball, that bounce, that dribble. That dribble. Got that whole way too many times, and naturally, you can try to zone some and hide some things, but we didn't have a zone in yet. But we got to get better there. We got to continue to get better with executing, reading things, knowing if a team goes into a zone, we got to be able to recognize it. We can't call a timeout every time a team changes defenses, and that's kind of where we were at the other night. They go zone, never recognized it. But those areas, like I say, we'll continue to get better at. Every time we do it, it's a coaching moment, a teaching moment, and so many of these guys have, I'm gonna keep repeating myself with Junior. He's just never done it. Willie, just never been out of the paint in his life. And I know everybody can say, yeah, we see that, And again, he'll continue to get better and got to slow down and, just don't try to do too many things. And, that game naturally just speeds you up. And you get sped up, you get blinders on, you can't see next play, you can't see the play. So, and again, ability to guard the ball, ability to not concentrate as well, all gets magnified when you play as many minutes those guys played. I mean, that's just asking for it. You got 3 fifth-year guys played 45-plus minutes. You're asking for fatigue physically and mentally. Physically getting broke down guarding the ball, mentally making mental areas, those kind of minutes. So, as I've said, our bench has to play some. I have to be able to put them in there. And put them in there, sit down, put a blinder on, tell me when about 2.5 minutes up. Sub them back out. I've got to let them play some. Because we cannot play guys 38 minutes a night consistently with the, and practicing every day like that. And that's different too. And I've got it's different for me. Normally in practice, I've had years maybe I didn't play 8 guys, but you still got 14 or 15 in practice going through drills. That means every guy don't have to go every possession or every other possession. These guys here, we've been down to 10, 11 most every practice. 10 lots of times. Going every possession, every day, every drill. And again, that's why I give them off on Wednesdays a lot. And again, help recover some of those banged up injuries we had with Junior and with JJ.
Are you healthy now going into Saturday? Healthier at least? Well,
we're healthier with Junior and JJ, for sure. We lost 2 more Monday. Marco had strep throat, and Marty has had that same problem he's had off and on. It's made him miss a lot of practice up this point. So those 2 guys were not able to go Monday and Tuesday at all. So you get a couple, even though those guys were not guys we were dependent on, but they're guys, we need them to practice. And we got to get them so they can practice so I can get them into a game so we can buy some time. We have to buy some time in a game with these guys now, just from a depth standpoint. There's no other way around it. They've got to play some.
Coach, what are your thoughts on Alabama State?
Well, Alabama State's, and they always have some talent, and they're talented now. Got a big old 7-footer and got some guards. Got 1 guard back who didn't play the first time. I think he had 26 last game. And they got several guys that can make 3-point shots. They want to get up and down the floor. They want to press you and make it a scrambling type game. And anytime you have a team that's got 3 or 4 guys can make shots, it's always something you need to be concerned with, because it's very obvious a team can get down a roll making shots. That old basket gets big for them, as we saw Saturday night out there. So there'll be a challenge for us.
Coach Huntington, into the first game of the season, where would you grade your team in the category of mental toughness?
Well, I don't know if I'm going to give them a grade. I can just say we're nowhere near where we have to be. And mental toughness, means a lot of things. Most time your coaches talk about you got to be mentally tough, defend and rebound and all that. You got to be mentally tough offensively too. What do I mean by that? Well, you got to catch it where you want to catch it. You got to pass it where you want to catch it. all those little things. You got to have some offensive toughness to do that. And that's work in progress. I can promise you. And it all gets magnified a little bit having a new guy that's never played a point guard. That's where, that's kind of the head of the snake. But as you guys, you all have talked to Junior enough already. You all know this about him. He's a high character kid. And whatever mistakes he makes, they're going to be honest mistakes. Not because he's not trying, not because he doesn't want to. It's just because of, the adjustments he's having to make from being a 3 player all his life to the point guard spot. And we got to continue to help him hide some things, and we're trying to do that. Hide some things in that adjustment, and still let him maybe play to his strengths a little bit, which is probably, getting it in and around that rim a little bit with his big old body. So, but I still believe it's him. He'll continue to get better every game. He'll learn from it because he's a guy that I watch film and it hurts him, bothers him when he's not doing right. He's not a guy that can have 4 or 5 turnovers and he can leave here and lay his head down and not think about it. He's one of those guys going to think about what he can do to get better every day.
Anything else?
Jim, got a question for me back here. I ain't seen you lately.
No, I don't have.
I heard you was in Montana tonight. I didn't see you Friday night. Was you in